Hello everyone, this is part 3 of our tutorial ASP.NET MVC with AngularJS, and today we will be learning about how controllers use the values from services in AngularJS and how the values from controller is displayed in the view. So let us begin with another div for our part 3. Let us give it one heading, part 3, using service in AngularJS. Let us create a button here. Button Alright, so I just created a button called get message from service, and on click of this button we are going to call get message from service function in our AngularJS file. So let us create a function. For this, let us simply create an object for getting the messages from service, in which we will be injecting the values from services. Okay, the object's name is server message, and it is inside our home controller. I already have one server message created here, so you need to create a similar object. Scope that server message equals to an empty object, and in this object is going to be filled on click of the button. Alright, so on click of the button, this get message from service is called, and get message from service function is called, which will be filling the values in the server message object. Let us fill in some values. Scope that server message equals to from person from server, and then message is message from server. Alright, so on click of this, on execution of this function, the object server message will be filled with two properties, from and message, and we will be displaying the same object in our view. Get message from service, and below it let us write down message, right, server message dot message. I think you must be clear with getting the values from object and accessing the properties of the object, which we did in our previous tutorial. From server message dot from. Alright, so we just created a function called get message from service in our Angular controller, and on execution of that function we are filling the values of the object server message and populating the same values in our view. So let us try and refresh the page. Alright, this is the part 3. So on click of this message of this button, the values message and from needs to be filled. So let us check it once again. So we just got it. Message is a message from server, and from is person from server. Right, Now these values were filled only from controller, but in this tutorial we are supposed to go one step further and we will be filling these values from service. Alright, so how exactly Angular services are created? Angular services are created in a similar way as controller is created. So let us write it down: MVC app dot factory home service function. Right, so in this way our service is created and the area of service is differentiated. So this area is the area of service. Alright, let us write it down, a comment: controller, and this is the service. Alright, so let us create a function in this service where get message is equals to function. Right, and it will be returning an object. And what the object will be? The object will be the same message that we just created in our controller. Alright, so let us remove this server message values here inside the controller part, as we will be filling the values from service to the controller. So we just created a function in our service. Let us create an instance of the service here where home service factory equals to an empty object. Alright, and then let us inject this function inside the instance of the service we just created. So home service factory dot get message equals to get message. Right, so we just injected the function get message into capital get message and inside the object of the instance of this service. Right, so let us return the service now. Return home service factory. Right, so this factory will be returning this object, and this object has got all the functions injected into it. Alright, so that's how actually the factory works. Now let us inject this service into our controller, Angular controller. So the way to do it is simply put the name of the service here after scope, and then similarly inside the function as well. Right, so on click of this button we are executing get message from service function. So inside this function we are supposed to get values from the Angular factory or Angular service to the controller. Alright, so just like we did before, scope dot server message is equals to, now we will be calling the function of this factory. Alright, home service dot get message. So one thing we need to remember is that this get message is the function which is injected into instance of the factory. Alright, not the function which is used inside the factory. Okay, we need to be very clear about this. So we just got values from our service to the controller, and on click of the button get message from service, we are calling this function get message from service into our Angular controller. In the Angular controller, the server message object is being filled from the service, Angular service. Alright, so we don't have values inside our controller, but we are injecting values from the service to the controller. Alright, so let us try and refresh this page once again. Okay, so initially the values are not filled as this function is not called. Okay, so let us click the button, and on click of the button, just like before, the values message and from needs to be filled, but this time it comes from the service. Alright, we just got the values from service. Okay, so I think that will be it for today. Thank you very much.